Welcome. My name is Lauka Madarova, and this is my colleague,
Janet Valencia.
We are from the Polytechnic University of Madrid, and today we would like to show you our presentation, Learning Center Vocabulary Assessment in ESP under Low Supervision, Design, Reliability, and Outcomes. In this presentation, we will outline the context for our ESP assessment in the EPAC course, walk through the design and reliability measures used in a low supervision setting, share key findings, highlight the learning insights we gained, and close with improvement and takeaways. In EPAC, vocabulary is the gateway to understanding technical material and communicating clearly. With larger cohorts of students and more asynchronous digital learning, we needed an assessment that supports learning and remains manageable with low supervision. The assessment was applied with second-year civil engineering students from ETSI Caminos Canales y Puertos. It was done across 4 groups with a total of 157 students under similar teaching conditions and with the same access to materials. Our aims were to build a reusable assessment, enable asynchronous completion with low supervision, prioritize learning-oriented tasks over memorization, and obtain diagnostic information to inform teaching. The assessment ran on Moodle within a window from 9 in the morning until the midnight. Students had access to their materials, so task design needed to elicit understanding and selection, not only simple recall. Before the assessment, students attended a short informative session and completed a 5-item mock. Clarifying wording and navigation in advance reduced anxiety and helped prevent misunderstanding during the real activity.
We use different types of tasks, image-based identification, short descriptions, brief paraphrases, and focus on understanding and selection. In this example, we can see the task in which students had to recognize and distinguish which type of dam they were observing, and they have the display of the options. In short descriptions task, we will provide a sentence with a picture so they could show understanding of the statement. We recognize in this type of exercise that case was unimportant, so we provided different options in the spelling, and all of them will have the same value. In brief explanation exercises, we require students to paraphrase a concept or explain a process in their own words to show understanding. And here we can see the specifying of the answers. They only had one opportunity to attach the image of the process or concept they were describing. In this exercise of focus on understanding and selection, a part of including true or false exercises, we also wanted to see if they could recognize different images in a given picture. For example, in this picture we have a dam with different items that they had to name. In this part, we have the items display, the 9 different options. This is the correct order in which they are going to appear in a vertical way. This is the task example, and the students are supposed to be able to leave this list in the appropriate order. In order to ensure reliability measures, we took into consideration the following aspects. We provided a precise time limit. They will only have 90 minutes to finish the whole exam. They will have tasks that will appear in randomized order. They were not going to be able to pause the exam or postpone it. As soon as they start, they had to finish it. No backtracking was allowed, and students did not receive feedback during and after the test. Before the preparation of this exercise, we had an information session. We provided students with a 5-item mock test. We were able to identify some issues with phones in which the students were not able to upload the pictures taken to the exercises in which they were required to draw and then upload their drawing. We also established with them an incident protocol in which on the day of the exam, they will have to take screenshots of their problem and send those screenshots to us and immediately report These type of exercise help students to reduce their anxiety and clarify navigation issues. These were the exercises we present to students so they could see at least one example of the different exercises they will be doing on the day of the official exam. Students were encouraged to use laptops, tablets instead of phones. We were observing some issues with phones and also we see some issues with the navigations and display limitations. In this table, we can observe the participation outcomes we had. We had to take this test in 2 calls. On the first call, there were 152 attempts, and there were only 2 technical issues that were handled and solved during the exam period. And there was the comprehension issue that could not be solved, and 5 students claimed they forgot to take the test. Because this student was not able to solve the issue due to comprehension problems, we had to give the student an opportunity of taking the exam again on a second call. And that's why we have here 6 attempts, 0 technical issues, 0 comprehension issues, and all of them did the test this time.
As we can see in grades by group, across groups A to D, the upper range performance remains stable, which suggests the structure worked consistently in the low supervision and asynchronous format. The assessment surfaced 4 strategy gaps. They were skimming and scanning, instruction comprehension, visual interpretation, and concise summarizing. Fortunately, these are teachable skills that were addressed more explicitly. Now we will see some examples of these challenges. So first we have skimming and scanning, in which C1 level students misread the prompt. So we can see that the whole task was done in 10 minutes. However, the student only scored 6.85. In the next one, we can see instruction comprehension, where the students were asked to draw and label the layers of the road. However, in here we can see that only 4 layers were identified. There were no labels attached to them, and the description instead of full sentences only contains bullet points. In the visual interpretation, we made sure that we used the image which was identical to the one used in the class. However, some of the students replied as bituminous instead of a shoulder, which was the material taught in a class. In the next one, concise summarizing, again, the students were asked to draw the process of the formation of the potholes. In here we can see that the formation stages are oversimplified and the concepts do not correspond to the class material, neither the sentences nor the images which appeared in here. Behavioral patterns which were observed. So mostly we noticed 2 patterns. Some students answered quickly and confidently without consulting material, and this was often done with errors. Others spent long time on the activity, however, without the proportional gain in accuracy. Both patterns point to strategy training needs.
The learning insights that we gained during this study, assessment worked as a diagnostic activity for us in order to plan future exercises and units. Clear gaps. There are clear gaps in written strategies in general. There is a need for a stronger multimodal processing for our students, and this type of exercise supports target instruction for next semester. In this table, we can see what worked well and the challenges and limitations of this study. We could see that there was a stable and reusable design that we can actually continue using for future classes and courses, high engagement and completion for most of the participants, useful data for refinement activities, and low supervision viable. In the limitations, we still need to work with the mobile and tablet compatibility, occasional misunderstanding of instructions, and students' study strategies. In the case of the future improvements for further research, clear instructions and examples need to be addressed. Device use guidelines will be more precise. Largest item bank will be developed. More analytics on responses patterns will be studied, and pre-test strategy micro lessons will be planned. The contribution to digital assessment models. This study demonstrates reliability under low supervision, supports autonomous learning, fits hybrid asynchronous models, and is transferable to other ESP contexts.
What we could say to close it down is that our takeaways are simple. With careful design, assessment can serve learning and remain reliable even with low supervision. The structure scales well, and the data guide concrete improvements. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any further questions, we would be more than happy to answer them by contacting us on our emails you can see on the screen.
Thank you very much.